Welcome to the R&R podcast where we bring you red ribbons. I am your host.
Trash.
I am your host, Roland. Roland Johnson, to be exact. I have Chavez Laguerre here.
Hey.
And I also have Trey T.P. Patterson.
What's up?
And we have Ming.
Yeah. Just me.
Just Ming. We got Ow. He's a hoot. Ming here's a hoot.
Ming ting. Ting Ming.
Ming goes rap, pat, 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 pat. It's like no. So yeah, man. We're at it again. New episode, of course. Every what, Monday? Is usually every Monday. Yeah. All right.
That's pretty lit.
We lit. All right. So my topics today are they're interesting. I like to think so. If you don't like it, kiss my ass. So you guys, let's just get right into it. So starting off, obviously seasons going around, Halloween season and such. A lot of horror games, a lot of horror movies, stuff like that comes out. I've noticed that a lot of good horror games are based off of the indie scenes. The indie creators make those compared to the AAA titles that we get that are just like non-existent.
Oh, Dead Space 3.
Yeah, non-existent. The multiplayer game that has cooperative and completely lose the whole fabric of what the hell survival horror is. Yeah, that. So my question is,
Resident Evil 6.
Resident Evil 6. So I noticed that in indie games, a lot of them have these different type of stories that aren't just right in your face. They got like a lot of depth into it. So I'm thinking, or how I feel is, are indie horror games brilliant or baffling? And what I mean by that is, hey, this game has so much plot to it and DLC to it. This story is amazing. Or is it just that they just threw some shit together and was like, well, we didn't expect to get this far. Let's just keep fucking going. And obviously the prime example of that would be Five Nights at Freddy.
Yeah, that's rude.
So let me start off. So let's start off with Trey. I want to start off with Trey today. Trey, are indie horror games baffling or brilliant?
I feel like the thing, like going to your point of Five Nights at Freddy's, I feel like if it does something that's different, it's brilliant. But when you milk that gravy train, and Five Nights at Freddy's has how many sequels?
They got like what, 6?
Milking.
I think 6. They got like 4. I think they got 4 or 5, and then they spin-offs. Yeah,
they got like a movie coming out, like board games, all this stuff. And then I feel like at that point it kind of sort of like slows down the brilliance. Like you're just like, and then you got all the copycats and stuff. For a indie horror game to work, or a horror game in general, to me it has to be different, or the first one on the scene. Like, that's why Resident Evil changed the game. Like, there was no game like that.
No.
What game was like that?
Alone in the Dark. Alone in the Dark was first.
No, but like,
I know. I get what he's saying. No. Resident Evil does have its own quirks to it that did make it different.
No. I gotta interject on that. Resident Evil 1 was the first horror game on a system, like on the actual a home system.
Yeah.
So Alone in the Dark was a PC game.
Yeah, but still, it was still. It's technically, like we all know, as we all give Resident Evil the title of it's the father or grandfather, whatever, or it's the father of the horror genre, because basically it brought it to life. But then
it brought it to life on consoles.
For consoles. Alone in the Dark with the same similar concept, because they actually took from that. That's how they, you know what I'm saying? On that particular aspect, that's the grandfather. But no, it's like
they didn't take from Alone in the Dark
in a sense, because they
took from There's the Japanese. There was a Japanese game prior to Alone in the Dark. I forgot what the fuck was called. I'm gonna look that up. But there was a Japanese game that Resident Evil took from entirely and threw on it.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that was the hit. Like, I don't know if that's in the archives, but I do remember Alone in the Dark was like the thing that helped them with their foundation. Like, basically,
I will give you that, but I do know that in terms of like gameplay wise and like graphical.
Yeah, it had its own.
Exactly.
Of course. I'm not taking that from you. I was just saying. I was like, there is something before that. That's the only thing I was saying. Like there was something because they when Alone in the Dark gave them that whole concept of trying it in 3D. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Like Alone in the Dark was one of those games that did it in 3D, and you were like, what the fuck?
I agree with you, but I still think Resident Evil was the thing to turn people's heads. Like that's why I said a game changer.
Nigga, it made me pee my pants at a young age.
you cut me off, and I said it was a game changer. You're like, no, Alone in the Dark.
All right, so just to chime in real quick, the game that inspired Resident Evil was Sweet Home back in 1989.
Sweet Home.
Sweet Home was the key. That definitely was the one that it thrived.
That's technically the original.
Yeah,
that's technically the original.
But like back to my point is like when it's something that kind of sort of like it's different. You know, like it's brilliant because people are like, oh man, I'm scared again. Like Five Nights at Freddy's, people were scared. People were getting on their phones. People were like, oh man, jump scare.
All
oh
the
my
streamers.
God. Like exactly, all the streamers, everybody was doing it. But then by the time you got to like 4 and 5, even 3. Like people are just like, I'm done with this. Exactly.
After year one of it, like I mean, if anybody,
the hype train just died down. It was kids like that were going crazy about it.
The thing that I find like I don't like mostly about Five Nights at Freddy's is that like a lot of the really scary moment were like the jump scare moment of like I like this is way back ago, but when Amnesia: The Dark Descent came out, like that was definitely more like. It set up the environmental horror. Like, you actually, like, did, like... there was no actual threat of dying in that game until you first met the monsters. And that, like, that's, like, a couple, like, maybe, like, 30, 40 minutes in the actual game. Mm-hmm. And then it's, like, that did a very good job at, like, pacing up. Like, okay, here's the atmosphere. It's kind of unsettling, but nothing's happening right now. And then once you get used to that stuff, it's like, then it's like, oh shit, like there's something out there that's gonna kill me.
I fuck with that. I fuck with that. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm gonna say this. Well, to go back to Five Nights at Freddy, my thing is like, it's one of those things. Like, if you were a developer, I get why he like basically ran it into the ground. You get what I'm saying? The developer. Because I mean, the dude went from making Christian games, and then like he wasn't making no money. The church wasn't trying to let nobody play his stuff, so he was like, "Well, fuck that. I'm about to be secular, and I'm gonna go make the scary shit." And everybody was like, "Oh my god, it works!" And he was like, "Me and my kids gonna eat," and he just started just throwing them out there. So I don't blame him, but I will say this: for us gamers, it's trash. But
yeah, I mean, like,
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, like. I don't think when it first came out, I didn't say it was trash. Like,
no, it wasn't trash when it first came out. I'm talking about after he started like killing it. Like after he started killing it, it became trash.
I think it was the same thing for everything. So then, like another indie horror game was Slender Man. That was the thing that changed the game too. People were just like, "Oh man, like you see him, you gotta."
It was more about the creepy.
It changed
more about the creepy pasta.
It changed the game so well that people thought they could really resurrect that Slender Man by trying to stab their friend.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there was an article about that.
Oh. But that's what happens with creepypastas. Like anything that has a lore behind it. Like the game came from the internet creepypasta of it, and then it just like
marbles built, or some shit like that.
Yeah, like everything kind of built like what do they call those? What do they call them? It's like a term for it.
Explain.
You know, I'm not to say supernatural. It's not supernatural. It's what is that damn term? It's basically it's like a story. It's a urban legend. It had like that urban legend feel. We call it creepypasta, but it has that urban legend like, ooh, this and this, and if you do this, like how somebody would say something about Bloody Mary. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's how the Slender Man.
That shit.
Don't. And like that whole aspect of things. So. That's basically what brought that to life. And then somebody was like, you know what I think will be cool? If I make a video game out of this creepypasta that everybody's talking about. And then...
the game wouldn't even look that good. But
it did. But the concept, it was brilliant.
The concept is... I mean, look at the movie. Like, the concept...
Oh,
God. They are making a movie.
Oh, God.
No, it's out.
It's
already out?
Yeah, it's out. Like, it's one of those things that's like, oh, this is Slender Man. It finally hit Hollywood, 12 years later. Oh, Slender Man.
Yeah, took 12 years.
I have it. You know what? We're going to make a movie. It's going to scare all the kids, and we're going to be all over social media, and everybody trashed it. So, you know what I'm saying? So, but like, I'm going to get back to the topic though. You know what? Like you were saying about Baffling and all that. Like, if it's Baffling or if it's brilliant. I'm going to say the ones that are baffling are the ones that have been in the game too long. Like, for instance, as you know, this is one of our favorites, and this hurts to talk about. One of the ones that became baffling.
No, wait, I'm going based off indie. No, if it's a AAA title.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, all right, we could say, all right, we can go to indie. Indie, this one's brilliant. Most indie ones are brilliant. Most.
Yeah.
The one that I'm going to say is definitely brilliant, and it's one of my all-time favorites. You just walk around with a motherfucking camera.
I ain't talking about.
Fucking
Outlast.
Yep. Outlast is brilliant because it did what Condemned did to you back in the day, where you know you in a fucked up place. You know it in your mind mentally. You know you're in a fucked up place. You know everything is messed up here.
Yeah.
But you have to go through it. Like you can't turn around. There once them doors are closed, that's it. You know what I mean?
It's done.
It's done.
Dead,
and you have to go through and you have to investigate. And the thing is, you have no weapons. Condemned at least gave you like a pipe later. You know what I'm saying? Or like something that
He
could...
said I gave you a pipe.
You know what I mean? Like,
smoke this.
But like they gave you a camera and all you could do was zoom in and zoom out from your fears. That's all you could do. It was like, okay, I can't see in the dark. Let me use my nightlight on my camera. Gotta charge my camera. Like let the batteries run out. It's over.
That concept reminds me of what's the Japanese one? Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
So, but I think that like a lot of the brilliance comes from taking like a component from something and then just applying it to your thing and maybe like changing a few things.
But can we really say that, like, because a lot of these things that we're saying are brilliant, right? A lot of these indie titles, they have to become they become AAAs and then they become baffling.
Yeah, because then.
Yeah.
So I've been
The community
noticing.
kills it.
Yeah, not even the community. For me, I don't think it's the community. I think it's purely the developers that kill it, or the industry that's creating like the developers that create those games. Or so I remember there was a game called Lone Survivor, that's basically a 2D Silent Hill, that has like that 16-bit feel. Like if you want to take a look at it, I remember I did come across that game. And that game by itself, the story essentially was just like, epidemic happened, you're by yourself, guess what? Shit's crazy, shit's going down. I'm like, oh my god. But it took the brilliance of taking basically the format from Silent Hill exactly to a T and just basically changing it up in a different type of environment with different monsters. But this atmosphere, I never thought I could fear a 2D game until that, because they literally made it where it was, you didn't just go around wherever it is and shoot things, everything's fine. Like, they gave you limited resources just as if you were in Resident Evil. But the thing about Resident Evil is, it's a 3D environment. The thing about Silent Hill is a 3D environment. This is a 2D environment. So while you're walking, you're basically walking towards the enemy, and you gotta fucking figure out how to run back, look for an opening, and if you're not quick enough, you're fucking dead.
So Legend of Zelda Link to what was Legend of Zelda 2? That's kind of like that's what I'm getting from it.
In a way, but not that bad.
I'm getting kind of like Limbo from that too.
And Limbo as well, like those games, like Little Nightmares.
Oh yeah,
I
love that game.
Little Nightmares gameplay, brilliant. Story baffling.
Really? Yeah. Yes.
It's like baffling story, but gameplay's brilliant.
Yes.
Like that's what I'm talking about. But so it's like you see these games that are developed so well, and I mean I don't try to really pick too much on an indie title, because here's the thing, you don't have the resources as a AAA, and I get that.
But you know what? But with minimum resources comes creativity, and the thing is, like, look at the AAA titles that have done that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they had a little bit more on the budget, of course, but like, look at fucking Silent Hill. The reason why Silent Hill won and technically just won was so ahead of its time. Or it was so, like, you know what I mean? Even though we already had Resident Evil already, you know what I'm saying? We were like 3 games in by the time Silent Hill 1 came, or 2 games in by the time Silent Hill 1 came out. It was so amazing because everything was in fog, and everything was in fog because they couldn't render up 3D objects in the outskirts. So in order to like to keep you immersed into the situation, they gave you this sense of claustrophobic, like like a claustrophobic like environment. And they used the sounds against you. You get what I'm saying? An indie developer, you can fog up anything for fucking free. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, with the development tools today, of course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could fog up an entire place, or you can make things limited with with minimal resources. You know what I'm saying? That's what made that fucking game great. It was minimal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking the creativity behind it. I have no problem with.
I'm talking about the indie, yeah.
Yeah, but I have no problem with a title of whatever title it could be being creative, and like obviously with the limitations itself, like that's not my thing. I mean, I'm not against that at all. What I'm saying on my side was that I'm noticing that these indie games, these indie horror games, the gameplays, if done correctly, usually if it's a critically acclaimed, must-own indie game, the gameplay is the shit. But the story is always lacking because they want to use DLCs to fill up the rest of the story plot. But because of that, I get that you want to have it where you want to, keep producing different titles and such. But because they're so focused on just gameplay and kind of throwing a story in it a little bit, I feel like it draws back. Like it kind of hinders what could potentially be like, oh man, I would love to see an indie game pull off a fucking game of the year or a nomination. I don't know if it has ever has, but like the gameplays be amazing, but the story, because they want to constantly release DLCs and different titles and all this additional stuff, it pulls back what could possibly be a brilliant title that a AAA dude might come out the blue and say, hey, I want to fucking buy your merchandise. And I want to give you these resources and get in on this because this shit is it. Like, I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's the prime example of taking something that's indie. And even though we bashed it a little bit, the story as itself was actually interesting for the first 2 to 3 games. The story of a kid being murdered, possessing fucking animatronics, fucking, bringing niggas back from the dead because there's a murderer somewhere. Like, that shit for the first 2 to 3, phenomenal. This is a great story. But then the books started happening. The spinoffs started happening.
I feel like
all this other bullshit started happening.
Yeah.
Movies started being made. Like, you see what I'm talking about? Like,
the lore was just too crazy.
It was good, and then all of a sudden it kind of went too far because he wanted to make so much more.
He wanted to make like Gravity Falls of like the thing where it was like mysteries and people had to figure out stuff and like to buy into the next one. And I feel like it was like a cop out after a while.
Yeah, anything where you say things are a dream, a cop out.
But you know what though? You know what I think about these indie developers who probably end up like copping out is like it starts off indie, right? But what a lot of us don't know is that like a lot of these like major companies. Like, let's say, for instance, let's throw one out there. Let's just say, like, Sony's like, hey, I want to buy your IP. But without people knowing that we're backing it so you can keep getting that indie buzz. You know what I'm saying? Because if we back it, they're gonna expect lots of money to get thrown at it. We give you a set budget, we throw a little bit at you, you know what I'm saying? And you start developing it and you get to still call it indie, but we get a percentage type of deal. You know what I'm saying? Let me get the exclusive. Let me get it before everybody else does. You get what I'm saying? When stuff like that happens, other people are coming into the pot and they're going, hey, I really like this, but let's see how much more we can get out of it. We don't know what contracts are signed. We don't know what's what. Because, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, if I'm a developer and I make a hit title, I'm not jumping out to make you a second one right away. And the reason I'm not gonna jump out to make you a second one is because why am I keep feeding this buzz for it to die out really fast? You know what I mean? I'm gonna take a lot of the money that I got to try something else. You know what I'm saying? Already got this. Already know how to make this again. You know what I'm saying? I just got to switch a few things up. Add you back into the lore type of deal. Developers aren't rushing to go make 2. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Like I don't see that. When Guacamelee came out, they did not run back to go make. I mean, I know that's not a hard title, but like they weren't like 2 right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Two in another year. They waited some time. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they should have took some more time when it comes to this and make sure that the plot itself is set in stone before you kind of just start throwing shit at the wall and hoping that something sticks. And as I was saying, man, when it comes to it, man, what I'm noticing is the gameplay. They focus purely on the gameplay more than the story itself. But there are good games out there that have both gameplay and both. I think Soma's one of them. I'm hearing Amnesia, I believe, is one of them as well.
Yeah,
one game that's
wasn't Eternal Darkness like that too?
I think Eternal Darkness is too ahead of its time.
Eternal Darkness was all gameplay and mind fucks. Yeah, and I love it.
I feel like that's something that we need again today. Like something that's like, oh, your hard drive is like wiped.
You got that in Batman Arkham Asylum.
That's like the biggest troll. Like the game was the biggest troll essentially.
Yeah, it was definitely ahead of its time. Hold on. So, There is a game that I wanted to say was completely baffling on all aspects.
Okay.
And if you had Xbox 360, you went to the arcade. If you went to the the store or whatever inside on your Xbox or whatever, to the marketplace, and you had decided you wanted to get Amy.
Oh yeah,
That
I
game
remember
was
that.
bad.
They were trying to like.
That shit was an escort.
Wasn't
it was
that
an
like
escort
an
mission.
E3?
It was like all this. I heard it was like IGN gave that shit for a preview was like an 8 out of 10 right now. It's the must own game.
E3,
and then they rated it. They actually gave it a full rating. And they were like, this shit's like a 4 out of 10. Like how the fuck? Hold up. How did you fucking get this?
The game Amy, the entire game was an escort mission.
Escort mission with clunky controls.
With clunky controls.
It was just bad. But
I got fucked up and down that damn shit by Monster Show.
I'm just tired of these. I'm just really tired of like a bunch of like story plots that are just way more complicated, way more convoluted than it needs to be. Like all you gotta tell me is, yo, you're locked in this door, something's out there, don't die. That's it. Something simple like that. I'm tired of me saying like, oh, you're playing kickball and the ball goes in this yard, and in this yard, this neighbor comes out the blue, and he takes your ball, says, fuck you, give you middle finger, and you're like, I gotta get this ball back because my mom might beat my ass, and
neighbor?
Yeah, my neighbor might beat my ass, or it is, and my mom might beat my ass, so I'm gonna get my ass beat, so I gotta go get this ball, but he ain't gonna give me the ball, so let me sneak in this yard. Oh shit, he knocked me in the back of the head, I'm unconscious, I'm in his basement, and it's locked from the outside. Oh wait, somebody opened it, there's a shadow there, I don't know what it is. Hold up, man, whoa, just say nigga you got kidnapped. Just say
hello neighbor.
Yeah, just say you got kidnapped, or you got tricked with the free candy in the truck joint or some shit. Help me out.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Anybody with a porn stash, I'm not going in his yard. Fuck that. Me and mom rumbling. I'd rather fight my mom. At least I know what's happening. Like I'm not fighting the boy with the porn stash. He gonna fuck you in the butt. Like you don't know what's gonna happen once you go over to that yard. Like that dude has a porn stash. If anybody looks at the box, the artwork of that game, and you see him, it's a fat dude with a sweater on, with the Cosby sweater on. So I'm just letting you know something's going to happen. Like if he ain't giving you the pill, he giving you the shovel. Like my man,
he said, "Give you the pill, give you the shovel."
Like I'm telling you, yo, look at the artwork. Look at the artwork of Hello Neighbor. What does he look like, Trey?
A pedophile.
Pedophile.
But there are games that can actually, pull it through. Definitely when it comes to if they do focus on gameplay and then eventually do get to the point where a story does intertwine. Obviously, again, Five Nights at Freddy did have a good thing, but Five Nights at Freddy also had a lot of help from fucking YouTubers trying to crack the code and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
especially like Matt Pat. His whole career went to like that.
So
they basically bounced off each other, man. It was ridiculous. Hey, guess what? I dropped this game. Talk about it. Hey, man, I played this game. You should play it. Hey, man, I dropped a new game. Talk about it. Like it's just they're. I ain't gonna say he created, but I think he did. I will say, I will absolutely say, I feel like the leak went to him first.
It did. It had to.
The leaks.
They had to be in cahoots.
He called him. Hey man,
Game Theory went to shit for me because all he was doing was Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, I got.
Like he dominated the Five Nights at Freddy realm, and it was just ridiculous with that.
Speaking of people, hold up, this is completely off topic, but Roland, you should feel away too. That damn dude who had made that video game never emailed us the full game, and we helped.
Oh yeah, that is true. We definitely.
Son of a bitch.
He got you. He was like, nigga, yeah.
I
people talked about my game.
I was all ready. That shit had fighting game mechanics and it was Mega Man and fucking Street Fighter combined. Shit was fire.
Yeah, we went to a convention, went to Otakon, and we basically met somebody who was an indie developer
and we helped him.
We made some recommendations. We did.
Hey,
you should add this. You should add that.
He did it. I'm pissed.
Well, whoever you are, they're pissed.
He wants his royalties. I really don't care.
I want my fucking game. I was supposed to get it for free.
You can get it on Xbox 360. Damn.
I'm not.
But no. But yeah, there's the game that comes to my mind that actually had gameplay mechanics, but then kind of developed a little bit of a story. It was the SCP Containment Breach.
Oh yeah. Yo, that
shit is hot.
Yeah.
Like that game is one of those like, all right, so a lot of games we say is revolutionary or changing the game a bit.
Tell us about
like,
it. I never heard about it. Tell me about that shit.
All right, well, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But I'm saying like with the revolution, like a lot of games are just because eventually you run out of ideas, you kind of just rinse repeat. There was another game I remember that was basically a DOS system. We had to decide and type in. They're like, "Hey, you're in a door. Door's in your face. What are you gonna do?" And you're basically like typing in your results and shit, and it pops up and says, "Hey, you die or you don't die," or leads you to another story plot. Like, so make your own story in a way, but it was a modernized version of it, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" It kind of came around the same time as Stranger Things, so everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." Basically, watch, rinse, repeat system. But SCP, nah. So SCP Containment Breach is basically an indie horror game where you start off within a what's that, like a locked area with two other people, not really moving. It's just like you're just like standalone people. It was really broken down. They were really lazy with it, but you was hiding away from this monster. This monster was in the room with you, and so
oh shit.
But here's the thing. So the mechanic of the game for him, at first, it was just him at first, was every time you blink, he moves.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
I love this.
That game was fucking amazing. And so if you turned your back, he moved. If you looked at him, he would stay still. It's basically like red light, green light, my nigga. They took red light, green light and made it into a fucking horror game. And eventually that branched off to a bunch of other fucking SCPs all over this goddamn thing. You went from one person, one monster to literally hundreds.
Hold on.
Like, you still stuck on that red light, green light?
Hold on, son.
It was definitely really cool that, like, effectively the person, like, made up lore for all of these monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh yeah, this one does this one does that. And you're also just like... Even
some are friendly, some are not.
Yeah.
It was just really good. He stopped, put the fucking mic down.
I didn't know if he was dead. I was waiting.
No, but like I say, like that's one of those games that were just like that game changed the game. I would say that one definitely was something that altered.
What my retarded mind, when you said red light, green light, I thought about like the type of advertisement that you could get with this game. Red eyes. Dry eyes. Because I'm not blinking, nigga.
Yeah,
clear eyes.
But like,
you went through all these different things.
Like,
red eye,
that game's graphics were not good. Mm-hmm. That game's story at the time was okay. And then they branched this shit off. And not only did they branch it off, I mean, not by making new titles, they branched off by developing the game more. It wasn't SCP Containment Breach 2. Like, it's still all the same game. They just kept building and
so
kept
basically,
building.
Basically,
that's a brilliant game. Brilliant.
So basically, what they did was they took the things that we had been bitching about for a long time and turned it dope. Hold on, indie titles with just okay gameplay. You know what I'm saying? It became great gameplay.
Yeah,
and they kept adding DLC that was free.
Free DLC. Speaking of DLC, actually, Chavez, that goes on to my next topic. It's a transition. We like to transition here aimlessly. So every game has DLC. Every single one. Single player, multiplayer, other players, old players, school players, new players. Red light, green light. But I noticed that a lot of DLC content is in every game, and I actually just wanted to know how you guys feel about this idea of DLC. And I want you to know, and not like really like DLC as in like story plot DLC. I'm talking about like DLC that gives you an advantage and a DLC that gives you cosmetic or so. So you see how they have it both? I want to know, would you rather all DLC?
Are you saying advantage like
advantageous? I'll go with that.
Okay, I was about to say, because if you're talking advantage, like RPG,
advantageous. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay. If that is a word, it is a word.
So like pay to win.
Yeah. So like, should all DLC content be cosmetic, or all of it be advantageous? I mean, I said advantageous. Advantageous.
We try to use new words here.
We try to use new words. So yeah, how you guys feel about that? Where if you had to choose. And I'm going to make sure I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, no. You had to choose cosmetic DLC or advantageous DLC. Which one would you go?
I'm 100% like, I love cosmetic DLC. Like, I don't think that any DLC should give it, like, more power to anyone who, like, just pays for it. Because, like, it just isolates so many people from, like, it isolates and also demotivates people from, like, continuing to pursue the game. Because imagine, like, a competitive game where all you can do is just, like, You just need to pay to win. Like, then why the heck is there any reason to like really get good at it?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and because you have that community that's like, you know, of competitive gamers, it's like it really like kills that sort of motivation. Yeah, that's my biggest thing.
That's your biggest thing on it. But what if what if in this situation that all you have to do is pre-order and you get an advantageous DLC?
I still don't like it.
Still don't like it?
No,
Now you still don't like the idea.
No,
even though everyone will have it. So if it's like an exclusive gun for, say, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, yeah, I'm throwing that in there so I can put the tag in, bitch. Yeah, trending. So I'm saying, like, so it's like this, hey, there's this gun. We got this gun. You want this gun. Everyone gets this gun. It's a really good gun. All you got to do is reserve the game. Everyone gets the gun. And everyone's running around with the fucking shit online. So no one really has a true advantage. If everyone's kind of on the plane of using that same weapon, then it's like, hey... Is it really? Is it really? And he's like, no, fuck that.
Like, it's just that not everyone like is all about like pre-orders and stuff. Like, there's already like a huge there's pre-orders like a whole nother ball game of like just sheer fuckery.
Sheer fuckery.
Like,
keep your fuckery to yourself.
Yeah, it's
shit. I got something for that.
I say like
I'm gonna say this much about let's say, like you said, everybody gets the gun, everybody gets the thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up, right? Mm-hmm. But we all know with advantageous DLC like that,
yeah, it
is what you would consider like they're not going to give you anything good. It's never good. We all know this. We've all bought Borderlands before it was supposed to come out. We've all gotten just any shooting game, any game that this first person has had this type of DLC. If you get it, you get the pea shooter for downloading a theme. You know what I'm saying? We get the game, we get our little pea shooter, and we realize what's the point of using this against the other person, because nobody dies when you go to use it. It doesn't do any damage. It's just it essentially is just a cosmetic. It's a, hey, here's a gun that you would have got anyway if you had it just kind of leveled up by like 5. Or here's a gun that you would have got anyway if you got through the first 2 hours of the campaign. Here is, you get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the DLC that they give, in my opinion, is cosmetic, honestly. Like, I mean, yes, there is the advantageous one that you're talking about where it's like, oh, if you just buy this or you spend $50 on these V-Bucks or if you spend this and that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the stuff where, like, that individual doesn't play any other video games. That is the only game they want to play, and they're upset that they're not winning. You get what I'm saying? That's where that exists at. The cosmetic, like anybody else, cosmetic is cosmetic. If you're playing Street Fighter and you want to see Sakura in a demon suit, you know what I'm saying? Or you want to see Sakura in a bathing suit, cosmetic. You know what I mean? The gameplay ain't changed. Nothing happened for you. You just get to be like, ooh, scary, or you get to get, oh, get my rocks off if you're weird like that. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of weird people.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's cosmetic, and I mean that's what we pay for. Like, I like it when games give you the cosmetic, but they make you still work for it. Like, basically, it's free DLC, but it's momentarily. You know what I mean? It's a momentary thing, like seasonal, like how we do with Overwatch or we do with Dragon Ball Fighters, or in an Overwatch. It's like a thing where it's like, oh, in Overwatch, you know what I mean? It's seasonal, so it makes you want to play a little more, and you can go to advantageous way. You can sit there and keep spending a bunch of money on loot boxes hoping you get it, or you can earn and work for it. You get what I'm saying? When you give that option, that's when it's great. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's when it's the best. You do like the, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and pay my way to win because I suck ass at all video games. Nah, like, for what? You know what I'm saying? I like cosmetic. I fuck with cosmetic. I think cosmetic is the best. It helps with everything. I mean, the next cosmetic, quote unquote cosmetic, is that I know I'm playing next week is the Spider-Man, the heist. Fucking excited. Can't fucking wait. I get 3 new suits and I get some story. I'm okay with it.
What about you, Trey?
I was just thinking about like the question and everything, and I found, like, to my knowledge, there is one game that's actually both. And that's Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh my god!
Your cosmetics, like your plant,
I'm knocking down the doors,
looking different, actually is advantageous because, like, say if you got like the Chester Cheeto man-eater plant, he now can breathe fire. It looked different, and he has different abilities.
Did they fuck the game up with that? And why didn't any, like, I kind of like that shit.
But that's a thing.
That's
like,
kind of hot.
You get the cosmetic, and it's Ming's.
What's your thoughts on it? No, wait, no.
But that's that. It's so like that's one that has both. So like I'm trying to think of a way of. I can't feel like in a game like that. I don't think you can differentiate the two. Like if you give them a cosmetic and then they act like everybody else, then that kind of makes the game not as unique for that game specifically.
Well, but also like with Plants vs Zombie, it's sort of like in that freemium game world, kind of like with Fire Emblem Heroes, and that like cosmetic wise, like oh man, I really want my favorite Fire Emblem character, but then they're hidden behind like super ultra rare 5 stars. Like then it's just it. I know exactly why people like these games, but it just feels so scummy in that, like,
that's what it is.
You're pretty much just forcing players to spend money on a game for, like, to get, like, even if they're not good, it's, like, the character that they want visually. Like, same thing happens with, like, the one, Fate Grand Order. Like, you're just like, oh my god, like, they may, like, have... Like, the Fate series, like, a lot of people like that. And they're really... I'd say they're pretty creative with, like, their character designs. It's like, oh, man, like, I want to see freaking, like, Johnny Appleseed. And it's like, oh, man, this is, like kind of cool.
I want to see
this, like, freaking, like, super ultra, like, mega 5-star rare. It's like, what the hell? Like, come on, man.
Johnny Appleseed show up with that axe, baby.
What I was... so, thinking of that... I think it all comes down to, and you guys are going to hate me for this, is marketing. So marketing is going to look at it.
This nigga can't go one episode.
No, because it's true.
One episode without marketing being
Hear me out. If this is your game, you're the marketing team, just hear me out on this.
I'm listening to you, dude. I'm just got an itchy head.
The advantageous way can bring in more revenue than just cosmetics. Because there's people out there that they don't care about the cosmetics. They don't care if your character looks different. They're just like, I'm not like big on like Dead or Alive. That's all they do. Like they just like there's people that are like, oh, I'm gonna grab this. But imagine like games that what
like
that is all they do.
Why you shoot my man favorite game like that? Like
cool. He's playing. Go ahead.
But if people have a way to like get one up on the competition, then people are gonna pay. Like, there's so many people that are just like, oh, like, I'm not that good. Like, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Let me just get this. It's the easier way out. And it's a way to just get a lot of money because that person's not going to be like, oh, I don't care what I look. Like, people who really care how their characters look are someone that invests a lot of time. But the people that are kind of like, oh, like, I really want to be, like, good, they'll go ahead and they'll do that. Like, that's the whole thing with the whole Star Wars. Like, people, they tried to target the people that wanted to get good or win fast. And apparently, like, I think it was Ming that you were telling me this, that there were guns, or, like, if you, like, they would put you in a lobby, say if you were doing really bad. They would put you in a lobby where you'd be doing good or something like that.
So here's the thing. It wasn't, so it was a patent that, like, they officially, crap, what's the company again?
DICE.
Or I guess the bigger
public. EA.
Yeah, like EA. They pretty much patented. They did a thing where like they had this.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Idea of like in order to sell more of like one gun, let's say, they would purposely match up like players against the people who like had that gun. So it's like, oh, like and then it's like, oh man, I keep losing this gun. I want to buy that gun. And then when they buy it, then suddenly matchmaking rearranges it so that they're the minority that like has the gun, overpowering the majority that like doesn't have that gun. This was a patent made by them. Thankfully, it never like actually made the light of like. Well, when I say the light of day, like I don't believe it was actually ever implemented in the game, but the idea was patented by them. And it's that like raised like
I love EA,
motherfuckers.
But that's the whole advantageous thing, like, and that's incentive. Like you're like, oh, I wish I had that gun. Like, I'm getting killed by it. Like it's look, he wants to cut me off already. Look at
that nigga about to snap.
But that's the thing, like. Imagine if it was vice versa and it was actually cosmetics and you were put against people with other like skins and stuff like that. You wouldn't care that much. Like you're just like, oh, it's the same skin. Like in Overwatch, if it's skin that I'm not personally into, I don't care. But if it's someone over there that has a gun that's gunning me down and stuff, I'm like, where the hell did he get that gun?
Yeah.
Like that's the disconnect, I think, and that's why as a fan and as a gamer, I'm all for cosmetics. But if I was in the, like the marketing seat or the CEO of a company and stuff like that, I might just go the advantageous route so I can get more money.
So So all right, so so based off what I'm seeing right now, Ming loves Advantageous. Not fucking with you. Ming fucking hates Advantageous,
Ming
likes
loves
cosmetics.
EA.
Chavez on the cosmetic side. Trey's on the fence on both.
No, I'm on cosmetics.
You on cosmetics too?
but-
On cosmetics too.
really cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I really
So you still fucked up with that EA thing. Did you not know that?
No, all right. This
That
is
shit.
all
Go
right.
ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go on that take. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, Ben.
This is what's fucking me up, yo. So after he said that, it made me think because I'm not a first person shooter guy. I'm not good at that. Like I can play with y'all, but like I'm literally just I can play. Like I'm not good.
You're right.
Like you get what I'm saying? So I know how this works, yo, and like I feel some type of way. Like I personally feel targeted now because what they did was people like me who lose. We have like there's a guy out there. Like for myself, when I lose, I go, man, it's some bullshit. I suck. I want to get better so I can help my team. You get what I'm saying? And I take that personally because I don't like to be dead weight. Mm-hmm. The people that they're targeting are the people like they target people like me who go, that motherfucker is beating me because he has a special gun. Why is he shooting faster? Why is he doing this? So then we go and spend money. And that doesn't change the fact we're still trash, so we're going to keep buying.
And they will also matchmake you with people that are around your level or lower, so you can
I'm
actually feel like you're getting better and that you're good when you're not really that.
I'm done
good.
with first person. I'm staying in fighting.
I'm done with first person.
I'm done with first person.
I'ma
but
show
it'll make
them.
you, but like because you're like, oh man, I'm actually getting good in this because you're playing with a bunch of trash people. You have more incentive to buy the next Call of Duty or buy the DLC.
Yup. That's exactly what it is because them little
the
motherfucking feel good.
So
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
so
them
now
endorphins?
Yeah,
so
them
now
endorphins and shit.
so what you're telling me right now
It's endorphins. It's endorphins.
it's
Okay,
endorphins,
okay.
yeah.
I thought it was dopamine.
Dopamine gets pushed through your brain.
No,
I think it's
all
both.
right,
It's
time to
dopamine.
Google.
It might be both.
It's dopamine.
To go, keep explaining while I Google
All right,
this.
so yeah, so basically what's going to happen is when the DLC is coming close to coming out, that's when my trash ass gets to go into lobbies where everybody's really trash, and then I get to level up faster than I normally do, and then I want to buy the DLC. Suck my dick. I am done with first-person shooters. I want to play a fighting game where I know that your fingers got to be fast and you got to be really, really good at remembering shit. Fuck this.
Oh no, wait, it was dopamine. It was
Okay,
dopamine.
okay,
Dopamine
there
is
it
the
is, yeah.
reward chemical.
Well, there we go.
It was-
well, dopamine.
Science.
And endorphins is the shit that releases after exercising and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Well, there you
physical,
go.
but dopamine is the one with the reward. You're like, I am the
Well,
shit.
I'm working my hands and
Fuck up, nigga. Just take the L, bro. Just take the
yeah,
L.
it's-
We
all
definitely
right,
did
whatever.
have a split down this table, too.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
funny
it's all
part. It was
good.
like-
I will
Oh no,
admit-
Ming told me that before. That's why I checked. And I was
Yeah.
just like, no, because all right,
But no,
Sure,
so
no. I took that out.
So I'm gonna go with. All right, so we got 3 people going with cosmetic. I'm gonna go advantageous. I'm gonna be the oddball, and reasons being, I'm
rolling.
Yeah, there you go. I'm rolling podcast over. Suck my dick. Drops mic. No. So here's the thing: how I feel about cosmetics wise, and the reason why I'm choosing advantageous over cosmetic. I agree with you guys that cosmetics is fun. I don't mind cosmetics, but cosmetics as a DLC, in my mind, DLC is shit I'm paying for. I don't want to use my actual money to buy content that is just for looks. Like, if I want to give you money, I want something back. And you telling me that, hey, you look different. Give me $10. I don't like that idea. I'm not saying it's a good, bad idea. For me personally, I don't like that. So, I want to get something back that I can use. Something back that can help me either A, get better, or something to make the game different. And so I'm going to go with the advantageous side because at the very least, I'm getting stuff that changes the game in some type of format and keeps it somewhat fresh. So when, like, for example, my advantageous, what did I buy? So obviously I play Madden. I caved in and bought some DLC shit. Those microtransactions get me good. And here's the thing, you're absolutely right. Ming was right about some of this matchmaking. They do matchmake you against people that have certain items, certain weapons, or in this case for Madden, certain players that you will have to get.
It's really not okay.
It's not,
Like,
and it's with EA. But here's the thing, though. Like, I earned a majority of my players I earned with hard work and dedication. But sometimes you gotta dig deep, my nigga, and you gotta sit there and pull them shits out. But so I'm digging a little bit of money in my pocket over it. It's like $10 over there. It's like, it's fucking $10. $10. The fuck $10 gonna do? So I was like, all right, so let me just do this or this. And I end up pulling like, I don't know,
later.
like Jalen Ramsey or some shit like that, which is a beast. So I turned that shit around and now I got his super elite card. Now basically I shut down the whole side. Beforehand when I was facing people, when you play somebody that also put money into the game or put way more fucking money into the game, that shit is nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking. But when you put the blood, sweat, and tears on top of $10, $20 into the game, and you beat that nigga, yo, you talk about the reward system of the fucking dopamine kicking in over this, nigga. You don't know shit yet. The dopamine kicking in, get a hard right. Like, oh! Like you ain't nothing more. Like ain't nothing get my dick harder than making a nigga quit. After they realize that they spent $1,000 in the game and them niggas still got sauced up. Ain't nothing nigga, my dick's so hard it can cut cocaine.
But Roland, wouldn't it feel like even better if you knew that you didn't pay a single cent on an advantageous DLC and you still be like...
But I will say
I know, it does. Yeah. And I did. But sometimes you got to get with the times a little bit. Just a little bit.
EA got him.
EA got me. You can look at the times a little bit. I'm just saying.
I will say this.
So
it's not like the games me and you play. It's like a game that he was
like I play... like
sports games. In
sports games, a lot of multiplayer games.
And the only way that you can actually proceed is if you drop a little bit of money. You have to.
That just sounds
But here's the thing. And here's the other thing, though, is... And I thought about it, and I realized, like, all right, I'm not sitting here saying I'm dropping checks. Like, there's some people that are putting $500-$600 into this game, and that is ridiculous. However, I started to understand why they're doing this, and a lot of games, their lifespan isn't as long as it used to be because of our attention spans. Yeah. It goes back to our last videos and such. So, if you got a game that updates every week throughout a whole year, I know $60, $65, or depending where you are in the area, you're like, I got the game, I don't care, that's all I want. But if you got a game that's constantly dropping new content every week for a year, that's going to preoccupy all your time, or at least a majority of it, what's an additional $5? What's the additional $10? When you was going to use that $5 or $10 to buy yourself a brand new fucking game that you just be like, it's whatever.
I fuck with it.
I'm not sitting there. I'm not trying to, convince you guys Advantageous is the way to go. Fuck cosmetic. I'm just saying from a different perspective, I like Advantageous. I do like cosmetic, but I like the idea of me downloading and buying something that actually makes me, not only feel good, but actually improves my gameplay. And that's the main thing.
I really fuck with that. Like,
I'm not sitting there, Ming. I know you're mad. I'm not sitting there saying, Ming.
Does it really make you better? Like knowing that, like let's say all the differences is at you do like freaking like I don't know like 10 more damage per shot or whatever the fuck that's called, like in the context of like a shooter.
Yeah, it's
like, did you really get better? Did you really get better, or did you just skew the numbers in your favor?
You got better.
Your KD went up.
Your KD went up. Your vision, you feel the vision went up. You're in the zone. Oh my God. In the zone.
Look,
so I'm not saying you got better as in you got better based off of accuracy or some shit like that, or power wise. But you do, if you talk basis of shooter, you do get better based off of reaction time.
But that's, like, I would argue that's just from playing the game. You don't suddenly get better reaction time when suddenly your damage scaling just goes up. Like, what? How does that make sense?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Big not wrong, because my dumb ass had decided to go the advantageous route, and that's why I hurt my own self. I went to go buy some loot boxes. Thought it was gonna change my whole life.
On what game?
I
know it's not Overwatch.
I did an Overwatch. I did an Overwatch.
You put Overwatch stuff?
Yes, I did.
Everybody did.
See, I just can't get behind the idea of paying money for cosmetics.
It's that
only.
seasonal stuff. They get you.
No. I just can't do it. Just like how Ming feels about Advantageous, I feel about cosmetics. I just can't give money for looks.
Hold on, but check this out.
Fixes.
Hold on, but check this out. But check this out. The thing is, that's fucked up about Overwatch and shit is just like the Plants vs. Zombies shit. This shit's brilliant, right?
Yeah.
It's advantageous. It's cosmetic.
It's not advantageous. Actually, it's disadvantage. It's a disadvantage he's rocking some of those cosmetics. It is, and I can argue that. I can argue that.
It is because if everybody thinks that you worked really hard to get that shit, and you spend some money, and they think that you nice with this character, and you not.
No, not even that. Not even that. So based off of, all right, man. Before I know, I'll let you go over this, but so some certain cosmetics actually hinder your game, like actually hinder you, and actually can get you killed in Overwatch. Everyone's like, oh, if you rock this cosmetic, you know, you're more accurate or some shit, or you rock this, or it is your hitbox is smaller. First and foremost, your hitbox ain't smaller. Hitbox stays the same no matter what it is. But the issue occurs when you have a certain item. Say, for example, I think it was Zenyatta or some shit. Zenyatta had like a little floof, like little motherfucking floof, or it is that a lot of Indian folks wear that you see in those like stereotypical, those stereotypical shit.
Headdress?
Yeah. So, little floof.
That's what it is.
It's a floof with a feather. With a feather on top of it.
It's called a headdress.
So what happens is, you're like, yo, I got this new skin. I need to rock this. And you're like, yeah, I feel good. Maybe you get like 5 more kills or some shit like that. You feel like your skin has gave you an advantage because, you know, maybe you're more accurate or some shit. But in reality, for example, like I said, with that headdress with the feather, so based off the other team in their field of vision, if they don't see you, your name disappears in the game. If they don't see you, if you're hiding behind something, your name disappears. However, if they see that stupid ass feather, your name appears over top of whatever item you're hiding behind.
Oh shit.
So it's certain cosmetics actually in that game hurt your gameplay.
So it's advantageous for the other person. Yo, this shit is fucking crazy.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's my little spin off thing. But go ahead.
Roland, I will say you're specifically right about that Overwatch example. Like, I'll give that to you. Yeah.
He's like,
he was gonna battle you, and then he was like, okay.
That was all I was just arguing on that particular part. But but we're talking about we were stuck on this for a while. Obviously, cosmetic and advantageous, whichever one you feel is your field of your feeling. Well, you got one more. My bad.
I also have one more thing about cosmetics.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
My thing about advantageous is that, like, I know, like, you say that it's a good thing, Roland, and we say we like cosmetics, but as Disgaea fans, I know that I purchased characters because they were good. Like,
Expel
team! I did.
The Mage Knight!
Yeah, like, they put them behind a paywall, especially Disgaea 5. Like, I was just I really want the female ninja because she can cast poison and stuff like that. I know, I saw. I'll think about it.
He's like, you want it?
But that's advantageous. It's not cosmetic. I mean, yeah, it's a different character, but
it's a different format. It's a single player type of game. Exactly. So you want to have the same thing. Whereas if it's just like, here's a new skin, here's a mage character you want, but he just looks different.
Yeah,
no different.
I wouldn't want that in a game like this. I would want someone that's different. Exactly.
It's like but that's the fusion. It's like advantageous, but it's advantageous, but it's cosmetic. Like that's like the fusion.
It's technically not because the character's different.
Yeah, but still, but like I was saying, like the cosmetic of it, like you get like it's technically a new skin or whatever, but it has a different thing for it. Like it's a different like stat situation. Because if you think about it, a lot of the characters in Disgaea, they're like copy paste, but then they have like little subtle differences that you can fuck with.
Okay, I disagree because say if you go by the male ninja, which you get in Disgaea 5, and the female ninja, which you got to pay for. Yes, they're both the ninja class, but the female ninja has a lot of moves like poison. There's like little subtle things, but even the skill tree is different. So she'll learn a lot of things that are like debuffs, not debuffs, but
I mean, essentially that's what it
like
is.
status effect things.
Status ailment.
Yeah, there you go.
Her status ailment, his is more.
But he doesn't learn things like that. He's more like.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said it's like a fusion. It's like you get it's a new cosmetic skin in a sense, but then there's other things that like the skill tree gives you something new to work with.
But is that really a cosmetic if it's different?
If it's a completely different character.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a completely different character.
So I don't think it's a cosmetic.
But it's a completely different character. With different abilities.
Yeah, that's not a cosmetic.
That help you out. That sounds advantageous to me.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is advantageous if that's the case.
That's my point.
I was thinking it was just a fusion aspect of it because it just seemed like it was like because in the game it's like especially in that game there's red mage, blue mage, and red mage does
whole
fire.
Mechanic of this game. That Ming goes. Ming, what you
Ming,
guys say?
Ming sitting there. Ming loves this guy.
So, this is actually completely different. In terms of like the sort of cosmetic advantage thing. Taking a book from Matt Pat, one of Matt's videos. was he had like this whole thing about how some of the cosmetics in Dead or Alive specifically were far more lewd than others. And when you're thinking of like a setting where it's a fighting game where you have to concentrate, if suddenly the character you're fighting against is like wearing very distracting clothing, it's just like, technically, isn't that being at an advantage?
All right, man. And on that note, let's go.
That was a good point.
Great.
Oh my God. We believe in the lewd.
Lewd out of 5.
But no, so when we talk about DLCs and purchases, I just want to know what your guys' thoughts are on online fees. Obviously, PSN, Xbox Live, and I believe Nintendo's now on it.
Yes.
Nintendo now has it where you got to pay to play online. I just want to know how you. Now, this isn't. Is it good? Is it bad? It's more of how do you feel about online fees? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? What do you don't like about it? What you do like about it? Just let it flow. Let the juices flow. Creative juices. The lewd juices. So what, man? My bad. You can go ahead and kick it off.
So, in general, when it comes to like paying for a online service, I view it the same way across the board. If a online platform is created right off the bat, that's like, okay, yeah, you pay for this. It's like, okay, fine. It's like that sets their standard. But if you do like a dumb thing where it's just like, first you were free, but now you're like forcing us to pay, like, what the heck? You can't. You're it's like you're stealing something from the people who were originally like down with like your service. Not really video games, but like with Netflix. Netflix is starting to like show whatever the heck they call themselves. We know they're ads. Like Netflix was originally like ad free. Now they're putting in ads.
They're putting in ads for their own original.
That's
content.
True, but still, it's ads.
Yeah, thank you. Someone understands that it's still ads.
It's still
yes.
ads. And then like I bet they're gonna do some dumb thing, or maybe they already have set it up where like you pay even more premium to avoid seeing these things. Like with Hulu, fine, because Hulu right off the bat, like you already were paying a premium for like
Hulu. Let's say I'm sorry to cut you off, but Hulu is different when it comes to the content between Netflix and the Hulu itself. So on the Netflix side, yeah, it does but mainly is movies and original content. Whereas at least Hulu's reasoning for their payment is because they're providing you shows that are current the next day. Like this is like network fucking commercials. So I can see what you're talking about. But I'm like, it's like there's a reason why they're doing that compared to Netflix that just came out of nowhere with it.
Well, so that's what I was about to say. It's like Hulu, I'm okay with because like right off the bat they set the standard that like we have the option where you either pay for our service but you get ads, or you pay the more premium version and you don't get ads. Okay, since they had that right off the bat, fine. But Netflix now like sort of starting to like have their own initiative in that. It's like, oh, like that's kind of freaking scummy. Like same goes when I look back at original like, well, I had an Xbox 360 before PS3. Xbox 360, you had to pay to play online.
Yep.
But then PS3, PSN was free.
Yes, it was.
But then when PS4 came out, I was like, oh, you gotta pay for us now. Yeah. And now Nintendo's doing the same thing.
That goes into Chavez because I know for a fact he got reasons behind it. You insulting Sony? You insulting Sony?
You fucking up my check, bro. No, all right. So I'm gonna say this. And I mean I agree with the Netflix thing and all that. That I 110% the ad.
Yeah,
that's
Netflix not being scummy.
Yeah, like you guys have made more than enough by charging me for the 4K version and all other type. Like you have different tiers. And people are giving you more than enough money. Adding the ads to make even more money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just... Now you're trying too hard. So, this is what I'm going to say. Aspect of... Let's go back to games. On the aspect of...
online fees, I love them.
And I know people will be like, Vez, that's trash. Like, why would you even like that shit?
Vez, that's trash. Why would you even like that shit?
So, I'm not... when it comes to service, I'm not cheap. And that's how I am. I feel like this, and this goes off of what Ming was saying. I remember that PS3 was free. PS3 online and all that shit was free back then, and that was one of the main reasons why I was actually able to get online, because my parents was not paying for that shit. I've played WoW online. So I've had subscriptions to things with WoW, but I had to use like the game cards with the timeline, the time limit on it and shit like that. On 360, I knew it was online or whatever, because all that you had to pay for that, like from the jump. But the reason you were paying for online with Microsoft is because their shit was kind of already put together, like very, very well from the jump. Like they, you know what I'm saying? Dreamcast, Sega, I wasn't paying a subscription when I was playing online because they were still figuring it out. PlayStation 3, they were still figuring out. So when it was free, I understood because it was poop. I'm not spending $10 on a poopy service. Like Nintendo charging you for their online service right now is trash because they're still figuring it out. Let's just be. I'm keeping it all the way 1,000. I'm not giving you $20 for you to give me trash ass NES games that I've gotten 30 times over on every other system that you've given out. You know what I'm saying? PS3 or when PlayStation had did it, it was like, this stuff is free right now because we really aren't good at it, and they kept it free the entire PS3 life cycle. They also added in, hey, I'm gonna give you PS Plus to let you try it out while we're still figuring it out, but you have the right to pay for it. If you don't, I'm not going to charge you right away. But they was like, but when we go to PS4, I'm going to give you the first month free, because anybody who got their PS4, if they got the first month PlayStation Plus for free, I'm going to pay the extra money for it because of the shit that comes with it. I want to keep paying these type of prices so that when I go onto the online store and I get that flash sale, oh shit, the game that I like that was $60 is $25 right now, or the one that I've been wanting to get is $25 right now, or oh shit, you telling me that I get this deal or whatever, and they're legit deals. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they're legit deals. They're not bullshit like, oh, here's $4 off. Bitch, I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're giving me games that I probably would have never looked at again, or it got old and you were like, hey, it got old. I know the store is selling it for $30. Here's it for $20. Oh, it's the holiday time. Oh, Black Friday's right now. Or, oh, it's fucking January. Or the way that Sony does it, they go, it's a fucking Wednesday. Flash sale. Like, I love it. You know what I'm saying? Give me a reason to, like, give me a bang for my buck. And that's what they did. And I respected it because they knew they were trash before. And they worked their way up to where they weren't poop. You know what I mean? Xbox, they already had, their shit was mapped out. You know what I'm saying? Because they come from the computer era. Yeah. So to charge you on Xbox, the original, not Xbox One, but the original Xbox, Fat Boy. You know what I'm saying? Then go to 360, then go to One. You can charge me all the way through because I knew from the jump, you know what I'm saying, you guys already had the shit kind of figured out because you guys come from PC. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how I look at it. Like, I fuck with the services because you're giving me a reason to come back. You know what I mean? I look at it like this. If I'm putting money as a subscription down on some shit, I know that I'm more likely to invest my time into it throughout the week. Even if I can't get to it Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, sometime during the week, I'm going to turn on my system. And I'm going to check that online. I'm going to check and see if that store is hot, if it's hot right now with some new content, or if I'm just going to go online and do something. I'm going to use that shit.
I agree. I think of online fees like taxes. So,
I hate paying taxes.
Yeah, you don't like paying taxes, but you also want to see your taxes go to good use. So, as long as the servers are really good, I get fluid gameplay, I don't see no fuck shit, I get deals, I'm all for it. I mean, I'm not too hot on the Nintendo one right now because I feel like they're really lacking on what they're giving out. So they're just like, hey, we're going to give these NES classic games. I don't really have a reason to be online on Nintendo right now anyway.
It's nothing.
So they're really trying to sell me, and I feel like pretty soon what they're going to do is they're going to hide certain content behind it. So I think that they're
paywalls, my favorite.
No, yeah, well, kind of like that. I think that what they're going to do, because they have it, they have a Smash demo ready. Like, they've been giving it out to like Best Buys, things like that.
Yeah,
I have a feeling like because Nintendo they move like this. They'll say, hey, guess what? The new Smash demo is going to be coming out, but it's only online. You know how you can play it?
Pay us $5.
No, you pay us the full 20 because that's the only way to do it.
Holy shit, bro! Speaking of that, not to cut you off, but it's to add on to what you're saying. That right there, they're releasing a system. They're releasing the Smash Brothers system earlier than the actual game. And
I know. You get the code, but you gotta wait.
You gotta wait. Yeah. Yo, what if they like you're saying, like with the demo thing? What if they like for those who spend the $20 on the fucking online, you get to play the game 2 or 3 weeks before it comes out? That would be fucking crazy.
But that's what I'm saying. It's going to be a demo. Like, the demo is already done. But they're probably going to put it behind it's an online-only thing, because if we remember the... I think it was the Smash demo, like, for 3DS when that was first coming out. you had to get it through like a special code, and it was limitations. So I feel like they'll do the same thing with this. Like, hey, it's online only, but you got to like, because right now I don't know. Do you really know anyone who's really paying for that right now? Like, we all have Switches in the room except for Roland.
Yeah, but fuck Nintendo, niggas. Like, no,
but none of us have it. I mean, the only people I can think of is Splatoon junkies. You know.
Yeah, fuck
that's
Nintendo.
Like the only game that like actually has. I mean, like, there's probably a community out there that still plays competitive Mario
Kart.
Tennis.
Not me.
But yeah, it like overall like
one set.
If I'm playing a multiplayer game for like the Switch, like I'll have friends over, so no need for online. And then if like I'm just doing anything by myself, it's like single player game.
I think the only reason I'm gonna do it is for Smash Brothers. If I'm too lazy to say, "Hey, everyone, come over."
And Pokemon, because obviously,
who's gonna go online? Now that'll be some bullshit.
I'm not going online.
I
will be over at your house to trade.
Yeah, that's gonna be annoying. So like if they do like
I drive kids.
the global trade system, which is like a big thing within Pokemon, where you can instantly trade with anybody online.
Yeah,
that's gonna severely limit people.
They're gonna do Pokebanks.
Well, no, not even that. But just the fact that I can normally in Pokemon, I can trade with whoever I want. I can do a Wonder Trade. I can do whatever I want. But if it's behind that paywall, I'm gonna be pissed.
That's exactly what they're gonna do. They already took the online services. Like I'm gonna be like that shit's poop. Like I don't like the fact that like I understand Nintendo's trying to make money where it's been lost or whatever, but you gotta really give something out. Like NES games, and oh man, we kind of changed it so you can have some cheat codes because these games were hard back then. God forbid you gotta try these days. You know what I'm saying? $20 for that, my man. Like. We've already done this. We've done this too many times over. It's basically it's wash, rinse, repeat with them. And with that aspect, like that's an online service. That's how you don't do it. Like that is a prime example of how you don't do it. First off, I still can't talk to you online. Like I can't hit you up and go, yo. Like it's in-game chats.
Well, no. So that's something too that pissed me off is that in order to talk to somebody with Nintendo Switch,
use your phone.
It's an app that you have to download.
I might as
You
well
have to
call
talk to people. Like
the fuck am I putting?
Yeah, really, I know, right?
Like
why? Like that
FaceTime, like
what am I burning? Why am I killing my phone even more when using the phone is less battery usage? But I'm gonna use your app that's burning the fuck out of my battery because it's running in the background, and then it's probably choppy. So it's probably like you know what I'm saying? Like we over here, like we back in the walkie-talkie days. With the chirp phone,
the tin can.
I feel like Reggie's gonna be like, and that's why it's $20 a year.
I mean, come on. I mean, if you look at PlayStation, you got to spend $60 for the entire year. No, nigga, your shit's poop.
So like to wrap up my point, I think it's like your taxes. You put it in, you see your taxes go to work. You want to see that, like what your taxes are doing, and you want to get like the value.
Yeah.
The one thing I wasn't a fan of was when PlayStation Plus went up.
There you go. I'm about to just be on that shit too.
I hated that. So, just like to Ming's point, where if all I've known was to pay this amount, don't go up. Like, don't. Like $17.99 for 3 months, that was great, But then you see Xbox, they had it was like $25 for 3 months, and
how much
it was
did they
$60
go
for a year.
They
basically matched what Microsoft does.
They matched Microsoft, and then they exceeded them. I think in the year one, if I'm right. I think it's like $60 for a year.
Yeah.
It's
well,
60,
no, I think
65 or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think it's
okay.
the same.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
matched them. They
yeah,
basically
matched them.
matched them, and I don't like that. Like
I didn't like that either, but I knew what it was.
There
I
goes
knew
Chavez cut me
No,
off. I'm gonna
no.
start saying red light, green light when you do that.
I'm just saying.
Red
I
light.
knew what it was.
Red light.
We having a conversation.
No.
That's me.
I know. I'm just messing around with you, but yeah, if all I know is $17.99, don't do that. Like if you go up on the next console, it's PS5. I'm like, okay, you got that.
You're right.
But don't do it mid-life cycle.
So going on to me, if it is when it comes to this, and then I'm probably going to end it off after that. Online fees, I typically don't mind. The only time I really do is when there's a paywall, as you were mentioning. So I know previously there were times where you were unable to access Netflix, you were unable to message friends, you were unable to join parties, you're unable to do so many other factors into the game, even though you I get it, hey, you pay these fees to be online. But that's not cool that I can't send a message to somebody. I'm not saying I need to jump into a party chat. Why can't I just send them a message? Why do I have to pay you $60 to hop on Netflix? They eventually did fix that. That was I think that was on Xbox. They had that issue. They fixed it, and that's not an issue no more. I just think personally, I think the prices are too high for online fees. And the reason being, he said, ooh, stop slapping, nigga. I'm explaining shit. Stop slapping your neck. That's fucked up, bro. But no, so my real key issue I have with online fees being as highly priced as it is for a year membership, and obviously, break it down by math. It's like, it's only $5 a month, whatever, $5 a month if you do it that way. It's not a big deal. There's a lot of people in the world that play on those systems. So my problem with it really is the security. They raised the prices and the reasoning behind it. So Sony's over here raising prices, Xbox raising prices. Nintendo now wants to put a price on their online, and the reasoning behind it is we want to give you better content and security.
Hold up! All they did was give everybody. They gave you a cloud that you could put your save data in, and they said, "Hey, here's some NES games. What games are you playing online?"
So that's where my issue lies. Is that mainly it's the security aspect, because there's been several times where you've came home, you had a long day, maybe you had a short day, maybe you didn't even have a day at all. I don't fucking know. So you're at home and you're like, you know what? I want to hop online, and then there's that message that says you can't sign in. Please connect to the network. Come to find out that your Xbox or PS4 or now Nintendo, since it's now a feature, they had a DDoS attack. Now you can't access it for 3-4 days. I remember that was a Christmas thing, right? Where it was like 3-4 days and it was down. You pay $60 a year. So how is this a thing? You paid money for a service and now you can't get that service, so you got to sit there and suck it up. And then the treatment that goes behind it, if you call them up saying, hey, why can't I access this? What's going on? They don't want to make you go into a panic. They're like, oh, well, don't worry, we'll take care of it. Well, can I get updates? Oh, follow us on Twitter. I don't want to give you more money. All right? I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's happening. Why can't I play the games or play or access online because of some issue that you guys supposedly raised the price to prevent? So that's more my issue on that. And because of that, not including that Sony on the little side had it where niggas stole fucking credit cards and niggas had to sit here and get their identity stolen and shit. That's a whole another factor.
That was 2 weeks of fucking hell. Yo.
Like that's a whole other factor. And you're telling me, Roland, listen, we were raising the prices to prevent this, but yet it still happened.
Still happening today too.
So my thing is, why don't y'all drop the price? I think y'all prices are too high for the stuff.
I'm gonna tell you why they're not doing
it. I know we know they're not gonna do it because they're used to the money that's coming in, and maybe to them
they're funding other shit. They're funding that PlayStation View shit and that other shit, those other bullshit ass apps.
But I'm not saying that they're gonna do this. I'm just saying in my world, if we're all paying for accessibility to play with our friends and security of our information, and I don't get either or of that content out of you also get this and you also get that, I'll pay for that. But if you're going to sit there and tell me, oh, you still got to pay the full price, but yeah, you got hacked and you can't play online. Thanks for the $60. We can't do nothing. You want to speak to our supervisor?
Yep.
That's a fucking problem.
Yep.
And on that note, I'm gonna end it on there. Just give you something to think about on that shit.
Word.
That was real nice.
So that's my poetic justice of the day.
One last thing about online fees. Remember when EA did that scummy thing where even if you had the online service, you had to get the online pass?
No, we ain't talking about that. We're not talking about that shit.
That's a whole different thing.
I know. But technically, that's an online fee.
That's an online. That's an online fee.
That is.
I'm leaving on that.
How many people did me and you almost fight because of that shit?
This is the R&R podcast.
The R&R podcast. Fuck EA. The usual. Give me better drops than Madden, bitch. All right, man. It's been fun, and we'll see y'all next time.